So my name is Sizzle, coming to you from Central Ohio. I founded the first Black-owned brewery in Central Ohio history back in 2019. Opened it up in 2021 and realized we had a need for cultural alignment within our partnerships. So I closed down the brewery that I had and took the time and got some planning together to open up something new and created Mecca Beverage House, which is now the home for production and incubation of 7 different Black-owned brands in our city. So I went from the only and the first to being the oldest of many, all in a 2-year span.
Diversified game. Learn how to start, run, and sustain your business.
Hey, it's Kellen, and today on Diversified Game, man, I'm bringing you something. I got to learn about this company and this entrepreneur at the Ohio Black Expo, which was a beautiful event. Can't wait to go back. But Sizzle Perry and Sizzle, we're just gonna get into it. You kind of stated what you did and the accomplishments in such a short amount of time. Well, people are gonna say, man, Sizzle, is that his real name?
That is my name, sir. That's
For greatness. You said you created this in 2019, and then right after that, the pandemic came. A lot of entrepreneurs didn't make it. A lot of people didn't make it. Was there any way that you were able to pivot or be deemed as necessary to keep the doors open, whether it was for personal or maybe for hospitals or something to create some type of beverage or tea? Like, how did that go when, the pandemic came?
So what's funny is prior to the pandemic, we were really still getting it out the mud. We weren't even in a brick and mortar that you could visit at that time, right? Some would even say we were just a brand. I was making beer like small scale, like practically home brew, and I was charging people to appear at their parties, but I would bring beer for free. You know what I'm saying? So that was the hustle in the beginning. Like, it was paid appearances that just came with free beer that I happened to make. Most of the time it was at tailgates. But the pandemic actually created a situation for us where, the fallout was creating opportunities, right? As other breweries are closing down, people are exiting the market. Our state actually listed breweries as restaurants. We were coded as restaurants, so it made us essential. Right. So shout out to the
Nice.
state of Ohio for pulling that off. Right. But because these essential businesses were closing, landlords who controlled the real estate got worried, especially thanks to Cheesecake Factory. I don't know if y'all remember this, but at that same time, Cheesecake Factory had just told every mall in America that they wasn't going to pay rent, and dared them to evict them, because who's going to go into a Cheesecake Factory building? They're all custom builds. It was like, so good luck finding somebody to come take over this footprint and replace the signs. So landlords got frantic. They were like, oh, shoot, right? I don't know when I'm going to get another tenant if I lose the one I have. So we found a pretty sweet deal and finessed our way into a brick and mortar location for $8,000, man.
Wow, nice, nice, nice. Now let's go back because somebody heard what you did and said, hold on, I'm doing that with cannabis right now until I get right, till I get the $1 million. But Ohio is known, for bootlegging back in the day in the prohibition days. How did you know even how to make brew? Was it a family recipe? Like, give us the game on that.
Um, so I was working for a brewery pre-pandemic. I was the sales and marketing director for a brewery. But an aggressive expansion plan resulted in a pending bankruptcy. Um, so my free beer situation was cut off, right? I was like, hold on, I gotta buy beer now. I ain't bought beer in a minute. Um, so one of the dudes at work was like, bro, you can make like 30 gallons for $60. I was like, shut up. He was like, yeah, you make it at your crib. Show me how to do it. And I was like, oh, okay, bet. I really don't want to be a brewer, but now that I know how to do it, I can do it. Right. I was like, I'll do it until I don't have to. And so I just started whipping it up. I hate to say that I brew, right? Even when I would get going in the kitchen making something up, it was more like, kicking it with your grandma, right? So I always say we cooking soul over here, right? Like we chefs over here. We cooking up something with some love, something with some flavor. It's cooking soul when you come through any of our projects.
Hello everyone! Join us on an exciting journey with Explore the World Cameroon. London and Sydney go take you explore Cameroon, the heart of Africa. Experience the vibrant culture, nature, and traditions from Yaoundé market to rainforest adventures. Every page na new discovery. Enjoy the Cameroonian food, music, and wildlife with our explorers. This book na true celebration of Cameroon spirit. Get your copy now. Available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and through your library and bookstores here in Grams Park. Don't miss this adventure.
Now, and you are cooking it up, you're sizzling there, but I want to make it very clear for somebody, and I want you to talk about the importance. You just didn't work for a brewery. You also went to school for business. How important was that in the play of you being able to run your business even for this long? Because most businesses don't even make it a year, especially when you talk about pandemics and all this other stuff. So that American, university, Intercontinental University, how important was that education?
Well, prior to AIU, shout out to the Ohio State University. For putting your boy up, right? Like that was really where the start came from. It's crazy. A lot of the stuff I learned in school about business, right? Even at 40 years old, I would say it was outdated information in my 30s, right? Because the landscape of business was completely different, right? AI was just kind of getting its start. Digital marketing was like the buzzword. Ghost kitchens there were so many different things, right? I would say everything I did that I applied was actually like modern day like consumption of knowledge through YouTube, through carefully curate my algorithm on Instagram so I didn't get caught up in the thirst traps, and I was really only getting good information coming my way.
Okay. You might have avoided the thirst traps, but some people, they'll say, hey, I'd love to create a brewery, but I drink up all my product. Or I'd love to have a candy shop, but like me, I'd eat up all my product. What do you say to those people who limit themselves because they don't have, the discipline to not use all their products every day to where it's, to their demise?
Well, that's when we step into a personal space at that point, right? That comes down to your level of discipline for yourself. Like, what I'm saying? When you're disciplined in your desire, right? That fuels your drive. So if your drive is to get money, or your drive is to actually build a business, like develop a system that pays you repeatedly, like it will supersede like your urge to have a drink. And quite frankly, once you got so much of it, you stop. It doesn't matter. Like there comes a point you can't physically do but so much, right? So,
Yeah. Yeah.
Max out and sell the rest. You know what I'm saying? Like at the end of the day, max out and sell the rest. Like, and I say max out to function, right? I live wild, drink responsibly is like my thing all day, every day, right? I'm gonna use alcohol. I never abuse alcohol, right? So I would say that's important. That's significant. Like, know yourself, know your limits, but like, don't forget your passion. Like, I know when I brew something in the back, like I'm be like, oh yeah, that's new. I'm taking the case of that home, right? Or I'm putting the keg of that on the kegerator at the house, right? That kind of stuff's going to happen, right? But the homies will pull up and drink most of it. I don't normally get most of it. Like I'm sharing the wealth in that the whole way. So I'm imagining that if this your passion and your people are behind you on it, you're gonna end up sharing with them the whole way anyway.
We'll go into that, because one thing every entrepreneur deals with globally after doing thousands of interviews like this is, in the beginning, it always starts usually with one person, that idea. when you talk about, bringing teams and family member, and you got a product that, a lot of people want, how more popular do you become, especially for those who don't want to chip in, as we used to say back in the 90s? They got their cup, but they ain't chipped in, Snoop Dogg. How do you deal with that? Because everybody will be waiting at your door with a cup, like, hey, you're off work, I'm ready to drink. Or maybe they meet you at work.
So it's funny, right? Geographical exclusion is a thing, right? Remember that phrase, geographical exclusion. I typically live so far out, like you can't just pull up at my crib anyway.
I feel you.
Right? Like, or I'm behind. When I have an apartment downtown Columbus, right? I'm behind. You got to get buzzed up. I just, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's a qualification to even show up. It's hurdles. And for my friends who are like, drinking for the free, I'd be like, all right, yeah, bet. Like, pull up, I'll pour up. But you about to, hey, move these kegs real quick, homie. You know what I'm saying? Like, load this stuff in my truck. Like, there's it speaks to the quality of people around you if all you got is people taking from you, right? The way we did this thing, like, all of my friends own businesses within what we're running right now, right? I had to pay somebody to move equipment, so my homeboy went and put his truck into his business, into a business name, and now every time I have to move equipment, I just pay him to do it, right? So he can't say he can't afford beer because I know how much I paid him. He can buy beer back, you know what I'm saying? But we making it together most of the time. So when I'm pulling my case off, they're pulling their case off, and we've always said that we gonna eat together, right? Whether that's hot dogs or hot pot or Hyde Park, you know what I'm saying? Like, we gonna eat together as a squad. We're not gonna complain about what we eat because we're doing it together. So if we drink up too much stuff and don't make no money, I manage that to kind of watch and make sure it doesn't happen. But they all understand what the mission is. Like, it's cool. What we trying to eat, yo? Like, you can drink right now or we can eat good later. It's your choice.
Well, again, shout out to the Ohio Black Expo, because these type of, just us meeting, it would not have happened without that meeting. But you have this vetting process, and I really want people to hear more on how that works. Because I go, and I'm sure you're part of like chambers and different organizations, and people will say, hey, you guys are consultants and do PR and AI and all this stuff. Could you, help us with this? And I ask, what about the guy who's been in this group for 5 years, 7 years, or that lady over there who's been doing it? Why haven't you used that? Because sometimes it's so hard for us to use the people around us that we're always looking for outside when we are enough a lot of times. How did you, say, I'm going to pay my friend, the one person who has a truck, and pay him versus, my cousin who might have a truck too? Like, what was that thought process? Because a lot of people struggle with that, and they don't learn that until like 5 or 10 years in the business.
I think it's a different journey to that spot for everybody to get there. There's a statement. I don't know if I made this or if I heard it somewhere and I just don't recall the source. But in my life, I was taught that blood is thicker than water. But I learned over time that the water never stopped running. Right? So, like, my cousin could have a trucking company. But my homeboy who started the trucking company was there with me hand in hand the whole way. Right? You know what I'm saying? We live like brothers, or I treat them like one. Right? That's one thing. And I think a lot of times when you're dealing with your family, or those close to you, like in your warm market, especially those who've been there for a while, a lot of times they never see you beyond like your lowest point. Right? So if you was a troubled kid growing up, it takes a whole lot of work to get people in your warm market to see you as anything other than that troubled kid when you're trying to evolve. Right? They don't see your top because they haven't experienced it. They've only experienced your bottom. So that's what they know. That's what they cling to. So it's very easy if the negative image of me, or like the me in the worst light, is the first thing you see, it's easy for me to align myself with my friends who see me in the highest esteem, hold me in the highest esteem.
I dig it. I definitely dig it. And, having a business like yours where today, and it might have already happened, some of the big boys come and say, we want to buy you out because, once you build your brand, that's what people do. Um, are you open to buyouts? Have you had that opportunity yet where they come, whomever it is, sniffing around and saying, we'd like to buy this? And, is it even, would you sell it?
So here's it. So like Mecca Beverage House as a construct, I would never sell because it means too much, right? It's literally there to be a springboard for Black-owned brands. So like if I sell it, like it is very possible that we lose that mission. When I started Crafted Culture, I said, the culture is not for sale, and I won't sell Crafted Culture. But many other brands will be built and sold underneath the leadership of Crafted Culture and underneath the framework of what Mecca Beverage House builds.
Okay. Okay. So that's a warning, and when they come, and I've been on a few deals when people want to buy out, I always tell people, what are you going to do after? But also, a lot of times they want you to stay around for 5 years. And it's almost sometimes like a record deal where they'll give you money, but they'll shelf you for whatever the reasons. And
Yeah.
and they know what they're doing, but they do it in so many different things. It's just the way business is done, especially here in America. But with your business, you're dealing with such high volumes of product, and you have to have people. What is a community give back that you guys do, or that you would like to do in the future?
Oh, yes. So, it's funny you say that. When we opened the brewery, the tap room in 2021, 2021, we opened our tap room. One of the first things we did, we weren't even open for business yet, but we partnered with a local philanthropist, and we gave away 60,000 pounds of groceries during the pandemic right in our parking lot. It was one of the first things we did. So it's always, giving back to the community, right, is up front. But you're actually, you've met me at an interesting time. I stand on the fact that I'm in this industry on accident, right? I wasn't conditioned to realize that beer was a viable, or alcohol was a viable career path for me, right? And had I known early on, I probably would have jumped on early on. You see what I'm saying? Like I'd be on my way out and not really just getting in at this point. Uh, so I created this program. I wrote a program. It's called Purpose Pop, right? We're actually going to teach from age 12 to age 22 the beverage industry, starting with soda or tea, a non-alcoholic beverage. But you'll have the opportunity to learn the entire industry. And on your 20th birthday, I'm sorry, let me stop before you even get to your 20th birthday. As you participate in a brand that you get to build and become its own beverage company, we're going to contribute to your 529 plan through the proceeds that brand generates. So that if you want to get a college education or you want to pick up a trade, it's going to be there available to you. And on your 20th birthday, you're eligible for our delayed leadership enrichment program, where we actually teach you the higher end functions, like the C-suite level functions of running a brewery or a beverage production facility. So that on your 21st birthday, you could actually become a legitimate CEO in the craft fermentation business, straight up.
Are you a successful entrepreneur or one in training? You've got the vision, but do you have the right partner to build your brand, your team, and your future online and off? At cprfirm.com, we offer expert consulting, financial guidance, and life coaching because we believe in doing life with our clients. After all, what is it for a man to gain the world and lose his soul? Founded by Callie Cash Coleman, we help our clients not only succeed, but plan to retire rich. Your business deserves the best. Start building your legacy today at cprfirm.com.
Okay, I gotta know, because we are launching and it's live now, and we're still working out all the details. But you guys can go to millionairex.ai. But for millionairex.ai, It's all about finance, faith, and family, right? And we want to have programs like that where we can tell people, hey, check this program out because, my personal opinion, degrees, unless you're going for nursing or a doctor or something that has to have a degree, you might need certifications and other skill sets have even made me sometimes more progress in life. So when is this program going to be available? Because I want, all the kids and especially mine to look at it and say, look, and I want to be in there too, learning. I'm always trying to learn something. So when can we get this program and will it be online as well?
So it is an in-person program because you can't really learn to run one of these places without being in one of these places. So until we expand into a place where there are more Mecca Beverage Houses in existence or things like us, right, we have to completely control the effort in an ancillary sense, right? So it'll be in Columbus, Ohio for now. Our first DLEP student actually starts in October of this year. Okay. And our goal is to get him part of the way through the program before we bring in the next crop in the Purpose Pop matriculation. However, I do have an agreement with a network of science academies, actually, like STEAM schools, who are going to basically pitch this program and teach this program to help determine which kids participate. I'm going to take 10 kids every summer and put them, or 12 kids every summer, put them in the program, and I'm going to boil it down to 3 who actually get to run their own brand through the year.
And with, building a brand like that, what's the most important thing besides consistency? It is, do you have to have, because some people would think you have to have the most, alcohol in it or the most sugar to, trick the people. But what's that like, that thing that you see since you're dealing with so many different, entrepreneurs? What do you see like is that golden ticket to that person they're winning because of that? What is it? Give us the sauce.
It's vibrations over libations, right? I'm not focused about how much alcohol is in my drink. I mean, you were out there, but I had a drink out there that had 4% alcohol in it, right next to a drink that had 9% alcohol in it, right? Like, what's your vibe? I'm here to facilitate your vibe, right? Especially as Black beverage consumers, every place accepts us because we spend more on food and entertaining than any other demographic in the U.S. But very few places include us. And by that, I mean, they'll take your money when you walk through the door, but they don't change anything about the way they do business to make you feel comfortable. Like, we specifically design and curate spaces so that you can consume in comfort, right? Most of us don't know what we like outside of liquor, right? And I could probably guess your liquor within a 30-second conversation with you, right? So we'll have to create a space where you get the comfort, not just in consumption, but in exploration, right? You don't want to go somewhere with folks you don't know and try something. That's like pulling up at a potluck at work and just randomly eating the mac and cheese. Nah, if you don't know who made that, you're not putting that on your plate. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's got to be some comfort in even attempting to try that. So we try to create those spaces, whether it's a tap room, whether it's a pop-up, it's a tailgate, none of that mattered to us. Like, the vibration was more important than the libation. Like, and we know that to be true because you don't have to make a good or quality product to exist, right? Look at Rolling Rock. That's still a beer that does numbers. And by no measure does anyone call it delicious. Most people say it's their favorite because of when they got a hold of it, like what it meant to them the day they grabbed their first Rolling Rock. Maybe it was their parent who handed it to them, their grandparent. That was the first beer they shared with them. And they don't have that person anymore, so they have that memory, and that's why they keep drinking it, right? That's why I said the vibration over the libation, right? And even if you start with a bad beverage, you're allowed to get better, Chief.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's why some people still want to have a Mickey or a 211 still reserve, huh? We remember sitting at the park before it was time. Enjoy them, but I get it. you know, how has dealing with even, in your city, the shelf space of getting into other stores, other markets, has that something that you guys have ventured off on already? Give us the process.
So we teach everything to be a slightly different, right? I view wholesaling as a form of sharecropping, right? You get ready to go out, make a product worth this much, pay this much to make it happen, and sell it for that much. So it's very difficult to go out and get everything you need for a large scale production facility, right? You're looking at $2.5 million worth of, funding that you need. And whatever that repayment is for you is going to be different, right? But you're only going to you might get mass distribution, but if competition everywhere you go, distributors want all your product for 30% less than wholesale value because no one knows your brand. And then you got to do the work yourself, right? To not sell to sell through all the venues they get you at, right? So it's like, man, you working really hard for very little. So we just say make less but keep more, right? And if we do the fast math on this thing, I literally just read a prospectus on a brewery in the Chicago area. These guys sell a barrel, which is 2 kegs, okay, in their tap room, right? Those 2 kegs generate $2,200 in revenue, okay? To sell those 2 kegs at market, like to a store, they're gonna, let's say there's a $200 value on each keg, right? That means the store is gonna buy both kegs, or the bar is buying both kegs for $400. That's the wholesale, right? Let's take 30% off of that. That's what you got for it. You got 280. You got 280 to sell to the store. So now you got to get that 280 10 times over to match what you could have done with 2 kegs.
I get it.
You feel me?
Yeah, I know. I get it. I get it. Same thing with, places like Amazon and Walmart's, just, at certain levels, people say, and I have a family member who was like that, his whole thing, and he died before he could ever get it in the store properly. But it was like, I want to just be in the store. It's something about that old school mentality, right? I want to be in the store.
That's what we call it. That's a vanity metric, right?
Okay.
In that you want to make less. Look, the homie coming in now, I told you, you know what I'm saying? The water don't stop running, yo. You see what I'm saying? Like, this is my director of operations over here. That's Don. He in the background. I don't think it's going to catch him back there, but we in here. Yeah. But, big bet. Real quick, I started these joints for it out there. For which one? For the black cherries that are already done over here. And we got to finish them. It's right here though.
That this sticker goes on top of this.
Yeah. You'll see the yellows back there on the label.
On top of this.
Yeah.
And then this one
For the flavor. Yep.
coffee.
That bet. Look, we don't stop. Look, you see, man.
You can't. That's behind the scenes right there. You guys get that.
Yo, my bad. Y'all watch real business happen. I got an order that's a 6-pallet order that's supposed to go out today, right? So he's coming to help tighten that up right now. But when you look at how much money you could have made, you could have done less work and kept more money. You see what I'm saying? And not everybody would have seen it. And I know that may not feel good, but I like to go places where I see new people. Don't nobody know me where I go anyway. You see, so I'd rather be able to afford a vacation where my backdrop looks like where you at than everybody around me see me in the grocery store.
Yeah, no, I get it. It's a typical South Florida view. So this is just that. I want to ask I want to ask questions for my entrepreneurs who think and act like me. And I kind of asked you, prior to us setting this up, how, and I know there weren't many brands yet ready, but the white labeling, because, influencer marketing is a big thing. I've made a good amount of money for people and even for myself doing influencer marketing because of the relationships we have. Um, how does that process work? And when can we be? I want to be the first. I'm just letting you know because I already see it. But how can other entrepreneurs, contact you? Maybe y'all got to come through me. We'll see, right? I'll be one of them gatekeepers that we always talk about. But tell us, are we there yet? Because people want, they can't do what you do, but they can go tell their audience of 2 million people or even of 10,000 people, yo, this is my product and I need you to buy it. Are we there yet legally with the laws and being able to ship, out of state and all that? We want to make sure we keep things legal and legit.
I mean, there's a path to that for anybody, right? The question is, are we gonna walk the path or are we gonna blaze a trail? And that's just saying, like, if I'm already doing business in Florida, right? Let's say I have a license in the state of Florida from right here. I've already got it. As long as you have the right to distribute in Florida, I can send you stuff. We're good, right? But if there's no license in Florida and you're the only reason I'm doing it, like, those are costs that you got to take on, or we got to explore what partnership in that space looks like before we can even start that, right? So I think that a lot of times we so quick to say we got our own brand, we got our own thing. We fail to do the due diligence on the compliance, right? And that's where a lot of folks get jammed up at. But I've seen it. I mean, I know a cat right now with a brewery, you know what I'm saying, in his garage, like, but he doesn't sell beer. He sells stickers and he sends you free beer when you buy a sticker. He sells stickers, people who are 21 and up, and he gives away free beer. I've seen him do it with tea. I've seen people do it a lot of different ways. It's structure your hustle and then find the folks that support it, right? You had a quick peek at our facility. It's a little bit too big for me to risk, you know what I'm saying, some stuff, but that don't mean I don't know how it goes down. And I can't help or guide or facilitate in that manner.
And speaking for my people, if it's alcohol or if it's tea, kombucha, I just want to know the formulas and the numbers, because what I tell all content creators is, yeah, we could white label it, but let's be honest, not all of you are Mr. Beast. Not all of you are going to put out a product that Walmart and big people are going to say, yeah, we want that. And his business model is totally different than, the majority because of his reach. But if it costs the content creator, some money, then it costs some money. And what I like is when content creators will say, oh, no, I don't have that money. Because we say, we do, though. And let's go do business. Now, they might not want to be in business with us because they know we're sharks and whales. But that's why I keep the water there, because sometimes it get hot. You got to jump in. But, if that's an option, I want to know about it. And I just want to know what that cost is, because I have seen, true story, it was over 5 years ago, going to Ethiopia for the first time and having Habasha beer on Ethiopian Airlines and having it in different places and not being able to get it in America and trying to do a deal with Habasha beer. And then 3 years later, they finally have it in DC. That beer cost about $11 a beer for the small one, but now it's about $8, or, it might be lower some places than DC. But I know that it can be done. You just got to have partners and you got to be willing to pay the cost to be the boss, to have what you want. So let me know on a personal note what that cost is, whomever is ready, because we want to make a deal happen. That's part of the business.
So I'll tell you, our goal is not to hurt nobody, on the financial side. You can't get exponential growth until you have 2% market penetration, and less than 1% of the breweries in the United States are craft beer breweries are Black owned. So, like, when it comes to us getting started, like, my goal is to get us to 2% as fast as possible so we can start to get that growth, right? So it's really on a case-by-case basis. And it's like, what am I doing? Am I developing the recipe for you, or do you have a recipe, right? Like, you can have a product, but you don't have a recipe, right? And if that's recipe development, then that's another one of the homies I got to activate to do the work. You see what I'm saying? Like my team is really conditioned to do everything across the board. And some of these cats I've known since kindergarten, some of them I've known since middle school, some of them I met, a year ago. You know what I'm saying? We got a love for what we do. So like, and we want more of us around. So we really tailor it to make it work, but there's only one L in the alphabet and we're not picking up another. So we're not going to take a L on this thing, for anybody. That's for sure. But we will like work.
I would highly recommend anybody trying to come to get a new product is to use your people, because you don't know this business. You might think hey, I could chef it up. No, you don't know this business
And that
at all.
I try not to say that because sometimes that can come off as hubris, right? But that's real. It's one of the reasons, like you had mentioned, what are they called again? I can't think of them. They always chambers of commerce, right? I've never seen anybody in our industry extract any real value out of the chamber of commerce, right?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like everybody.
Well, let's talk about that. Is that because they're so old in their ways?
I don't want to speak to their why. You feel me? I just know that if you hang around 9 champions, you'll be the 10th. So I'm really only trying to surround myself with 9 champions, right? If I watched 30 people in my industry join these guilds and coalitions and chambers, right? But no significant portion of their business actually comes through there, right? Why would I do the same thing? Let me go where the Budweiser is not a part of the Chamber of Commerce. Like, think about that. Like, there's a Budweiser plant right here at the opposite end of my city from where I'm at right now. I could drive straight up the street that I'm on and hit a Budweiser plant. They're not in the chamber because the chamber ain't doing nothing for them. So, like, I'm not speaking ill on chambers. I'm just saying they don't fit my business. So I'm not going to put my time there. I don't care about the, what is it, 250, 500 bucks that you pay for an annual membership. It's worth the backlink, right? That's worth them putting your logo on the site and a link to your website being embedded in that logo so that your search engine, manager can say another site is referring to you. So the more backlinks you have, the higher you trend in your in the search engines, right? It may be worth it from that standpoint, but they weren't moving units for us, right? And they know we exist and we could help them in some sort of way, like, pricing wise. Not saying I'm going to make the chamber a better place, but they don't attempt to sow good seeds before you get in. And to me, that's always a yellow flag. That's a yield to me at a minimum, right? You don't want to do no business until I done paid you, and then you want to come back and no. We got a program run by a Black girl right here in our city. It's an outreach program for minority-owned businesses through Experience Columbus, which is like the tourism board here. If you're a minority-owned business, you can participate for free in your first year, right? They're going to promote your events for you. They'll give you a complimentary photo shoot with a credentialed photographer, so you can get headshots put together, right? Everything your chamber would do, they will do, and they also source what's needed from you. And we're in a space where all of the alcohol is through bigger venues typically, right? These are from national producers and international importers who are doing this. They don't participate in your local chamber. So when your local chamber needs a drink, right, they should be coming to a local entity to get it. Like, through this program, you can become that entity. They're tied in with all the tourism aspects of the city. So now it's like, we got a pro soccer team here, right? But through that program, I got a connection to the merchandise and purchasing director at the soccer stadium. Right.
Yeah.
I found something that aligned with what I had going on. I was able to extract the value. Right now, the second year I'm in the program, I pay half the price for the membership. The third year, I pay full price. So across 3 years, I'm going to spend $750 on this program. If I can't pull $750 out in that 3 years, I done messed up.
I love how you describe that and let people know, because you're not just talking about a Columbus issue. All chambers. I've lived in 5, 6 different states. Families moved around a little bit, and it's like that. And especially when you are, what they deem small, and don't even put the black side of it, because we have a way of doing things that's not how sometimes the masses, think you should do it. It's done different. My hat says it's a family business. It's different over here. And because we've been able to prove that we've been able to do it sometimes even more with less, yeah.
All day. Chicken wasn't the thing. That was the yard bird. That was po folks food. They was eating duck and pheasant. Right?
Yeah.
He was eating
Did
it.
you have any VC?
What's that?
Did you have any VC? Like some companies, did you have it? No. So you got it out of the mud. So again, you are the professor of this, not just in Ohio, but globally. I got to know, how can people book you to speak? When is the book coming out? When is the YouTube coming out? Yeah, we got to press you for that one.
It's funny, like that's been one of those things that sits. I wrote a book. I haven't published it. It's called Cookin Salt. It's like the Black brewing experience. Because I want to teach everyone how to make their own. Right. If you can't get to mine, just stop buying theirs.
Yeah.
Right. I wanted that to sit for a minute. Like if you can't get to mine, if you can't find a Black-owned brewery near you, there's less than 80 of us in the country. Right. If you can't get to one of us, just make your own. The problem is a lot of people don't know how. So I'm like, yo, let me set up the rundown, because it doesn't take much. It doesn't take much. The vessel we ferment in costs $60 on the homebrew side, right? And if you really want to be like gully, like super hood, yo, like you can really put everything you need in a giant tea bag and one of them army stock pots your grandma probably used to cook for the family in. You see what I'm saying? And you can steep all your grain like it's a tea bag, pull that joint out, add your adjuncts, drop one of them ice wands inside to chill it, and then get it in your fermenter with your yeast. It's that fast, like boom, boom, boom. And if you don't want to do all that, I can teach you how to turn the juice of your favorite fruit into alcohol if you want to, right? We done that. So I want to show people how to do that. And we call it Cookin Salt because I'm going to teach you in the book the traditional method to make what it is. Like I'm going to give you just the OG IPA recipe, right? But then I'm also going to turn around on Cookin Salt side, right? And I'm going to share with you the Panama Crunk Juice recipe. That's my pineapple mango IPA. Right? So now it's like, yo, I can't get to crafted culture. I can't get to Mecca. I can't get to the Mecca Beverage House. No problem. You'll be able to grab the book and just make with everything we make. We're going to show you how to make it at home. We ain't.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
That's the YouTube channel too. You're going to be able to actually like brew with us. Like we're going to brew on the channel, all that. But we want to make sure that the prime mover is ready first. Like we got to make sure we're getting beer over the counter every day before I can sit up and just start shooting content, right? Because I got to have money coming in before I can invest in the time into building something that's not going to bring the money right away.
Money is not today's money. We always joke and say it's tomorrow's money. Even if you have a big deal, big authors with big platforms have talked about, I got an advance and I'm still waiting. So I tell people, you don't write the book for today's money, but when we're all sitting old and you've collected your royalties and put it into accounts that hopefully have compound. And again, you guys know I think in money, I think in dollars and movies. That's what that book money is. And the book also sets you up for the public speaking and whatever else. And the YouTube, your whole facility is a channel, a show, because you put cameras up there and be flowing with I mean, I know the editing, you gotta have team members who want to do that stuff, but could we see that by next year?
Oh, I would definitely say so. I'm very aggressive in business, I like to think. If I told you everything happening right now, you'd be like, I can't believe this. Um, but I took a page from the Pizza Hut playbook, right? Pizza Hut was open for 6 months before they made the decision to franchise. It only took 6 months for them boys to say, let's do another one, right? But we don't want to do it ourselves. Let's sell it to somebody else. And I say that to say, like, I see myself, freeing up that time very soon. As we prepare to open Mecca Beverage House next Thursday, June 19th, right? I'm already sifting through a 35-page sales deck for another brewery that's for sale in another city that makes perfect sense to do this because they got 3 Black-owned breweries in their city all trying to raise money to get their own brick and mortar. So I was like, clearly, there's an opportunity there, right? But if I call the wrong play at the wrong time, we might lose yards. So I'm doing my best to line it up, but I'm never not moving. We used to say shark, shark. If you see me stop moving, I'm dead. The shark is always in motion.
For sure, for sure. And I want them to get enough where they go to your Instagram. When the website comes up, they know first and they tap in. And you guys, if you have skills and talents, you think you can plant a seed, do not, not contact, because this is the time to get in. Not when you see them on Shark Tank, not when you see, well, go ahead.
You see me on Shark Tank, I'm trying to sit with the sharks. I'm not even trying to pitch. All right. Like, I just want to be the next person to start investing in other people's ideas. That's my goal, is to grow to that point. If I don't get to invest in ideas like outside my community, I'm cool with that, because I'm really trying to grow mine. Like, if all I do is get to a point where my grandkids come to me with crazy ideas that they want to start a business, if they make sense, I got the money, right? You know what I'm saying? If it's cousins, if it's the homie's son or whatever, like, that's where I want to be at. That's my goal, but I gotta put the work in. I gotta, move myself to get there, you know.
For sure, for sure. And we have sent you a blog of mine that you guys can check it out too. It talks about why, when you do write your book, you need to have your ISBN. And we might go into the details of Amazon Kindle, how to get in the libraries. It's free game for y'all. So I want you guys to get that, just like this free game. And I want you guys, I know most of you are listeners, but go over to the YouTube, give it some love, comment, like, and of course, share, because that's how we get this game to, and change people's lives. But let them know the best way to contact you. Tell them about the opening again, because I know some folks from Michigan might fly in or drive in. Some folks from New York, we have people all the way from New Orleans that we met who came to meet with some of our people. And Columbus, I tell you, Florida looks beautiful. Columbus is a beautiful place. I ain't never been there in the winter, though. I've only gone during. I'll say this about Ohio, and especially Columbus, where I spent the most time. You guys are some of the most hospitable people. Like, people here in South Florida aren't nice. They think they look too cute. They're too fly. They think they're in California with their nose stuck up in the air. I'm from Cali, so I can say that. But let them know where they can find you, how to tap in, and when this great opening is.
Hey, yo, so June 19th here in Columbus, Ohio, 745 Taylor Road, Taylor Road. Pull up, pull up, and ride the wave. High vibes, beautiful libations. It's going down over there from 3 p.m. to the cops come knocking. And we got it going all weekend after that. 2 food trucks every day, all weekend for this opening. We easy to grab. It's at Mecca Bev House on Instagram. The name of the company is Mecca Beverage House. You can find us on all socials. You can Google it and find us pretty easy. And If you can't get to me, just Google Black Brewery near me and find somebody to get to. If you can't get to mine on that day, get to one of theirs. All right, please. I implore you to do that. If you need to get me directly, it's Sipping with Sizzle on all platforms. That's SIPPINWITSIZZLE. Sizzle, because it ain't hot if it don't. Just like that.
Yeah, you guys have got the game. Do not forget the key word today was geographic exclusion. So we all need to cut and be excluded, Ken Ivy, Pimpin' Kid would say, from the ghetto streets to executive suites. That's where we going, y'all. You guys make sure, again, you share this game. It'll change someone's life. Be blessed.
Are you tired of the violence, tired of the injustice, police brutality, rampant discrimination, lack of gun control in this failed biosocioeconomic experiment called America? Or maybe you need a break from the relentless grind and want to regain control of your destiny, your wealth, your health, and your purpose. DiversifiedGame.com has the right course for you. Prepare for my first trip to Africa. Looking to reconnect with your roots, start a new business, or just a fresh start. Africa, aka the motherland, is waiting. Don't let the Chinese and the Mzungus have the fun and also take over the motherland. From Cairo to Mombasa, from Dakar to Cape Town, Africa has something for everyone, from business opportunities to the most amazing people, safety, leisure, and landscapes. The opportunities abound. It is time for the diaspora to reconnect with their roots. Time to reconnect with the birthplace of humanity. Africa is the last frontier. Get your head in the game and reclaim your legacy. The writing is on the wall. Babylon is falling. Give up the stress, grind, and violence inflicted on our people on this continent and prepare for a journey of restoration and joy by connecting with the land of your ancestors. Check out our new course and kick off your adventure at diversifiedgame.com.